don't have a problem. You have a problem. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, it is very much time for another book haul because I have way too many books, and so we're going to talk about them. At least I feel like some of these weren't entirely my fault, or like I was trying to fill up series. I got some review copies in here too. But let's jump in, and we'll start with the really big group, because this I take no responsibility for, because they announced that Book Depository was going to be closing. So naturally, I figured I needed to stock up on the Discworld Emporium editions, because Book Depository was always the easiest place to get them there. And so I got the City Watch collection along with Small Gods, and so I really do like these editions. And I gotta figure out where the heck they're gonna go, because I have some of them up there now. But then we have the whole City Watch, which there are a lot of these: Guards, Men-at-Arms, Feet of Clay, Jingo, Fifth Elephant, Night Watch, Thud, Snuff. So I wanted to grab these. I had kind of planned on just getting these as I read this series, and then I ended up getting the Death and Witches ones from Andrew. And so City Watch, I haven't finished reading yet, but I knew I was going to get, and Small Gods was definitely one of the favorites that I've read so far. So I made sure to get that too. And then I'll just have to figure out how to get whichever ones I want. But I think most of the other ones I would want at this point are going to be like later ones that'll take me forever to get to and know if I want either. Anyway, so it'll all work out. Moving on then, and I've got a few. I probably should have kept them in some form of order here, but that would make this way too easy. So I think this is a good chunk though. But looking at some review copies. So we have The Awakening Fire by Cassidy Faline, and this one, so it was really funny. Some of these are from like March and on. It's been a while, and I hadn't had a terribly large amount of books for a while, but I was actually visiting Andrew at the time when I got the request for this one. And I commented, I'm like, oh, and I'm reading off the name, and he's like, oh, you mean this one? And pulls it off a shelf, and said it was good, and so I'm like, okay, that's an easy accept. So the author sent me this one. And then have The Traitors We Are by Michael Roberti, Crown and Tide, Book 1. This is one the author reached out, and it sounds pretty interesting. And I talked to Andrew D. Meredith about this one too, and he recommended, so I was interested to give this one a shot. So these two we have. Even though the this is Awakening Fire, even though the ancients have been gone from the world for nearly 1,000 years, their law still holds sway over the minds of men. 3 men hold a claim on the kingdom's empty throne, each jockeying for power with their own conflicting ideology, with unrest brewing among the citizenry, violence breaking out between the lords, and a dark secret, I can't talk anymore. It's too early in the video for this, kept just under the palace floors. Can the kingdom of Rital survive another war with the ancients? And this one has a much longer description, but we have, in a world where writing disappears when the author dies. And that right there was honestly enough to hook me. This is the world where when somebody dies, anything they've written disappears. So I'm like, there's a note, like a note arrives blank back from somebody in a war, and you're like, oh, they must have died because their writing is gone. And that's just such a really, really cool, literally all I heard, I'm like, okay, that sounds really cool on this one. So I'll be excited to get to this as well. But this is like, it pulls out a scrap paper, and the writing fades, and then trying to come out or figure out what's going on. So it sounds super cool. And then one I actually just got, which I know nothing about this book, it sounds kind of ridiculous in a fun way, and so I'll be interested. It's a chonker, though. We have The Failed Technomancer by Boo Ludlow, Robot Cannibal Apocalypse, Book 1, and just the art, the name. There's no room for failure in a robot apocalypse. Not if you don't want to be eaten. And I have this sounds like it's going to just be kind of hopefully a kind of fun, ridiculous time. It is a pretty long one. I'm not entirely sure when I'll get to this. I have been getting a little bit more caught up on review copies, but I still have several to get to. But just seems like that could be a fun time. jumping in because we have quite a few more to go. So let's go to the next section here. We have Knights of Dark Renown by David Gemmell. This I was just at Half Price Books, and I saw a David Gemmell book that I don't have. And so this is... I can't remember if this is actually part of a series or not. But it's, like I said, not one I have, so it was definitely one that I was going to grab, because I love me some David Gemmell. I randomly came across The Great Bazaar and Brand's Gold by Peter V. Brett. These are two like novella short stories that are from the Demon Cycle world, and I remember, I think at least one of these maybe I read like a digital copy of, but I had never actually just seen a physical copy, and so I don't think I've read both. So definitely, I'll probably just give this a read at some point, or whenever I happen to reread the series, then I'll definitely check it out then also. And then one that's probably going to be a little bit weird, but I picked up kind of randomly Masterpieces of Fantasy and Wonder, compiled by David Hartwell, and this lists off a bunch of authors, and it's like a collection of, like, at the time, more modern things and classics, because like there's Dickens, there's Le Guin, Peter S. Beagle, Harlan Ellison, all kinds of different stuff in here. And so I decided, there were a couple authors here I had just been hearing about and wanting to try, and so I figured I would grab this as well. That's going to be definitely one. I have no idea when I'll get to that, but at some point we'll definitely see when I get there. I do have a few in here that were gifts, and I know I posted in Discord, but I don't know what I did with the gift slips, so I can't remember exactly who these were from. But copy of Thrice by Andrew D. Meredith. Loved this book. I need to get the second one too, because I got physical copies of the Collation Saga, but I didn't have physical copies of Needle and Leaf yet. I had read both digitally, so I was really, really glad to get a copy here, because I absolutely love the series. And then got a copy of Lonesome Crown by Brian Lee Durfee. And oh wait, the gift one is in here. So this is from Sharon. Is it in here? Was I smart on both of them? No, I wasn't smart on that one, so I'm sorry whoever got Thrice. But this was from Sharon, and I read the first two books of this a while back, and I had some issues with the first one. I thought the second book improved, and I was curious to see where it went, so definitely one I'll plan to get to at some point. Of course, this is also like a really big chonker, and this is like... this is over 1,000 pages. My gosh, it's even bigger than it looks. So yeah, gonna take me a while probably to get there, but one I also am very much looking forward to trying. And then I ended up getting some books from Andrew, because he was unhauling, and I end up getting a lot of good deals when Andrew's unhauling books sometimes. And so the first two are the Elric Saga, which is Elric of Melniboné and Stormbringer. I've been wanting to read Elric for a long time. Now, these are not something I'm going to read anytime soon, most likely. But I remember when these came out, I was really tempted, but I didn't end up wanting to get them at full price, so I didn't. And so getting them a little bit lower cost was a good thing as well. And then I also got from him The Bloody Crown of Conan and The Coming of Conan. These are the Robert E. Howard collections. Now, I started one of the Robert Jordan ones. I'll still probably read that first, because I know that the originals are supposed to be a lot better. But so another thing, kind of for the back burner, but things I was happy to add to the collection. Then we have, I did my last one, Spirit Gate. And this is Trader's Gate, which is book 3. Now, I also ordered a copy of book 2, which is Shadowgate, but it ended up arriving, and it was a book club hardcover, not normal hardcover, so I had to return it. Still working on actually getting a different copy of Shadowgate, but we'll get there, because I'm going to be starting Spirit Gate here really soon, so I was excited for that. On that same note, I have Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is book 2 in Rune Lords, and Chaos Bound, which is book 8. And they changed the art, and this is cool, but I really liked the more classic style here. So this is 2 and 8, which now means I think I have all of them except for the first book. Because I ordered the first book, described very good, and supposed to be in really great condition, and it arrived, it was just totally trashed. So I returned it, and then they sent me a book club, and I returned that for a refund, and I still need to actually go get another copy at some point, too. So I have every book but the first one now, which is just annoying, but is what it is. And then I did end up doing a book outlet order, and so I have some things from that. Let's see. First, we got The Keeper 6 by Kate Elliott, which has a fantastic cover. And I am really excited to read this. I was planning on, I asked for the e-arc of this, and I didn't get it on NetGalley. So I was gonna do it early and like promote and everything. Didn't get a chance, but still really excited to read this. Big Kate Elliott fan. I know, not much of a surprise, probably. And so I really liked her last one. Her last novella that she did, and so I'm curious. This is something totally different, but one I'm curious to try out. And then I grabbed Netherland Bone by T. Kingfisher, because I've heard this is really popular. People seem to really like it. It's pretty short, so I just figured I'd grab a copy and give it a shot at some point. And then we have some more of the big hardcovers here, including The Two-Faced Queen by Nick Bartel. This is the sequel to The Kingdom of Liars, and continuing my bad habit of ordering the sequel to a book that I haven't read yet, although I've heard good things from Andrew and some others there, so I grabbed it. And then, because I figured why not, I got the first binding by R.R. Verity, and this thing is just massive. And it's like, page count-wise, it's a little over 800 pages, but it just looks huge. I don't know if it's in paper or what. This is another one I probably won't get to for a really long time. I've heard very mixed things about this. But it's one that I think, too, eventually I kind of just want to give a shot and try myself and see what I think. And then finally, we have Master of Furies by Raymond E. Feist, which is book 3 of Firemane Saga. I got this because I have the first two. And once again, it's going to be a long years before I read this, because I'm not going to probably read his new series until I get further in Rift War. Maybe I will, who knows. But decided to grab this one as well. So now that I have the whole complete thing, also this is a pretty minimal cover, but still actually pretty cool stuff going on here. So that is, I'm scanning. Yeah, that is it for this one. So not like my worst book haul, but definitely more. I was trying to fill in some series. There were some gifts here, some review copies, so it wasn't all things that I got, but kind of a mix of some different things in there. Now it's, of course, trying to figure out where the heck a lot of these are going to go, but the whole video is done, so now I can work on actually finding spots to put these. So that's the fun part after that. Getting in. But that is it for this one, so let me know your thoughts on any of these books. If you've read them, or if you saw anything that you wanted to read or have any thoughts on, definitely let me know. And I always love to have those conversations down in the comments. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and of course, as always, check the link in the description for the Wizardly Do It Discord if you want to chat books, whether any of these books, other books, any books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun, and we would love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.